Yo, sup, this is NY3, and this is the first video where we'll go over the Yangxing wumbo combos featuring Denglong. Now the first combo I'm going to be showing is the most standard combo of them all. Over half of the time where you are going first, this is the combo that you are going to be gunning for. And it is none other than the standard 1 Metaphor 3 Yangxing. Now it's good to keep in mind that we also have a 5th card in our hand. But anyways, with just these 4 cards, we can open a field that is pretty much unbreakable. And this is how you do it. Activate Metaphor skill, normal Yangxing. Metaphor pops our Yangxing. Setting combination. Yan is going to float into Jiaotu. Jiaotu discard 2 Yangxings. This summons Zefraxi and Zefrenew. Synchro for 8. Baxia. Baxia is going to destroy our combination to summon Jiaotu from the graveyard. Combination grabs us our opposite scale. Next up, we're going to synchro summon for 5, which is Denglong. Denglong is going to grab us our first 9 pillars of the Yangxing. Next up, we're going to activate our pendulum skill. Pendulum summon both Zefrenew and Zefraxi. Now it's an optional step at this point to use Zefraxi's effect and make Baxia Tuner. Doing so would give you access to Ultimate Zolkin later on in the combo. Choosing to not do so means you'll be summoning number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy instead. But anyways, Zefrenew is going to fetch us the second pillars regardless of what we do later. Next up, synchro summon for 8 using Denglong and Zefraxi for our second Baxia. Zefraxi would go to the bottom of the deck if we choose to go the Ultimate route, but if we choose to go the Harbinger route, it goes into our extra deck ready to be summoned next turn. Denglong is going to trigger, since it left the field, to summon a Chiwen from the deck. It's always good to set up a Chiwen in the graveyard to extend our plays on the opponent's turn. Now here is another optional step. If you're not running Fusion, you can skip this step. If you are running Fusion, we're going to use our Gold Driver to pop our Chiwen and set the Fusion from our deck. Chiwen is going to float into a random Yangxing, such as Pixie. Our unused Baxia is going to pop the Fusion to summon Jiaotu from the graveyard. Next up, we're going to shuffle the Fusion back into our deck and draw a card. Here, if you made Baxia Tuner, we can go into Zolkin, set a pillars, summon the Crystal Wing of the Zolkin. But I prefer to not make Baxia Tuner and summon number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy instead. We're going to set our pillars, and depending on what these 2 cards are, we're going to set those as well and pass our turn. Now the reason I don't like to synchro for a level 8 such as Baxia or Void Ogre on my own turn using the Jiaotu and Zefrenew on my field is because that will leave us, for example, if we synchroed for a Void Ogre, with only 1 face-up Yangxing on the field. Now if that gets kaiju'd, all of our pillars face down is going to be shut off. So it's much safer to end with 3 face-up Yangxings instead of just 1. Especially when our Yangxing quick synchro effect can let us make that Void Ogre or that Cyframe Lord Omega on your opponent's turn. But most importantly of all, we can make our 3rd Baxia on the opponent's turn, which is very disruptive. So just to recap what these 4 cards have generated, we have 2 counter trap negates on anything we want. We have 1 spell negate, which negates effects, not activations, just to reiterate. And that's going to stop your opponent from activating multiple hard once per turn spells. So we got 3 negates right here. Like I said before, we can synchro off the Jiaotu and Zefrenew on our opponent's turn into something such as a Void Ogre, which is going to be the 4th negate. Additionally, since we have put a Chiwen into the graveyard, negating something with 9 branches and popping off our Big C is going to let us float our Big C from the graveyard, and Big C is going to float into a Yangzing such as Bian from our deck. This allows us to use Bian's quick synchro effect to synchro summon into Herald of the Arclight, which is the 5th strict negate. And if you're feeling fancy, after getting rid of your Herald to negate something, it can search something such as Salravis, which is going to be the 6th negate. But realistically, we don't need all of that. Realistically, what's going to happen is we're going to be using these 3 negates. Our quick synchro for 8 is most likely going to be into Baxia, I'd say around 99% of the time, spinning 2 back from their field to their deck, which is much disruptive than a negation could be most of the time. Also, Baxia Monster Reborn effect on the following turn, so your next turn, is going to generate a lot of pressure if your opponent fails to deal with the Baxia. An additional bonus is, because we have this quick synchro option into Baxia, Denko Seka no longer becomes a side deck option against this deck. After burning through a 9 branches of the Yangzing and popping out Big C, instead of floating into Chiwen and Bian for Herald, I'd say again, 99% of the time, you're not going to be going down that hard negate route. What you're going to be doing is floating into a Suwani. This allows you to quick synchro into another copy of Denglong on your opponent's turn, which is going to generate you another card such as Yangzing Path. Since you did burn through quite a lot of Yangzings, in my build I only ran 2 Denglongs and 3 Baxias, so shuffling them back, if any of these Baxias get sent to the graveyard, is a good option. After getting your +1, Denglong's a floater, so it keeps your 9 pillars live. I mean, you could pop your Baxia, but ideally you want to be popping a floater so you get maximum value out of that 9 pillars. Yeah, this is the usual pathway to go down for this combo. Quick synchro into Baxia, quick synchro into Denglong. But if you really need it, for example, your opponent drew 12 cards off Maxi, you could opt for a Void Ogre instead of the Baxia, and a Herald of Arclight instead of the Denglong. Depending on the deck, 6 negates can usually stop 18 cards in hand. If we factor in the other 2 cards in our hand, we just mentioned that this combo right here can be considered 5 or 6 negates. Since we have 2 extra cards in our hand, these could be anything, namely another Pillars, for example, which would bump this combo up into a 6 or 7 negate combo. Furthermore, the other card could be something like a Yangzing Path, letting us shuffle 3 back and drawing 2, and these 2 cards that we've drawn again can be more traps. It could even be something like a Pot of Desires, which will let us draw 2 more. So 5 or 6 negates is only really the minimum of what this combo can accomplish. In terms of card advantage, we started off with 5 cards. We ended with 4 monsters, 2 counter traps, 2 cards in hand, Zefraxi and Zephyrenew soon to be in the extra deck for pendulum summons, and you still kept your pendulum skills intact. Now, another point I want to make is that this deck has gotten a bit easier with the introduction of Denglong and 9 pillars. And that's because before, the 1 Metaphor 3 Yangzing opening hand is a unique combo. If we replace one of the Yangzings with a Chiwen, it would be another different combo. If our 5th card was another Yangzing, it would be a different combo. And if we swap something out with a Chiwen, it would be a different combo again. If the 5th card in our hand was another Metaphor, it would again be a different combo. But the good thing is, whether our 5th card is a Metaphor, whether our 5th card is another Yangzing, whether we have Chiwen in hand or not, the end results are all the same. Discarding a Chiwen off our Jiaotu does not extend our combo anymore like it used to. And this is because 9 pillars allows us to actively trigger Chiwen on our opponent's turn. Now, because that's the case, it makes no difference if we trigger the Chiwen on our own turn or our opponent's turn, because we're only going to be having that 1 Chiwen in the graveyard, unless we're discarding 2 Chiwens on Jiaotu, but that is a scenario that is not going to come up very often. Now, as for opening a 4th Yangzing or opening a 2nd Metaphor, the reason why this does not extend the combo is because if you've been following the combo step by step, there is one point in the combo where we have 2 Baxias and 3 other Yangzings on the field, filling up all 5 zones, which means Pendulum summoning 3 instead of just 2 on our Pendulum summon is going to cause more complications than extending the combo. Of course, our second level 8 that we make could be a Cyframe Lord Omega, which can remove itself from the field, sniping a resource out of your opponent's hand while giving us more space to work with. We are going to either sacrifice the ability to make a Hope Harbinger or the ability to quick synchro into Abaxia on our opponent's turn, which makes it pretty much not worth it. But yeah, that is the standard wumbo combo for post Denglong Metaphor Yangzings. Now the second combo is going to be showcasing Speedroid Terratop as an honorary Yangzing card. And I'll just go ahead and show you what I mean by that. So this is quite important in deck building when you're trying to find that Yangzing to Metaphor ratio, because as I said, Terratop can be considered a Yangzing, and a poppable Yangzing at that. So we're going to special summon Terratop, search our red eye dice. Normal summon red eye dice, activate its effect, make Terratop level 6. We're going to synchro summon into Yazi, activate our Metaphor scale. The scale is going to pop Yazi, set combination, and Yazi is going to float into Jiaotu. Jiaotu, discard 2 Yangzings, and this should be looking very familiar. It's exactly the same combo as the previous combo. For this specific hand, however, the 1 Metaphor, 1 Terratop, 2 Yangzing hand, I actually advocate doing a weaker combo than the full powered 6, 5 or 6 plus negate combo field. And the reason behind that is playing around hand traps. So what I would actually do with this hand is special summon the Terratop, grabbing the red eye dice, normal summon the red eye dice, and make Terratop level 4. So here, if they maxi us, we can still make a Denglong, use its effect to search the 9 pillars of the Yangzing, use its other effect to make itself level 1 and dumping a Chiwen to the grave, and setting that 9 pillars. Like in the previous basic combo video, we know where this is going. We can negate something using pillars, popping off a Denglong. Chiwen floats itself from the graveyard, Denglong floats into either a Suwani from the deck, letting us make a Denglong on the opponent's turn, searching a path, or float into a Bian, letting us make a battle immune herald on the opponent's turn. So this is a very strong setup. If your opponent had Max C, they've only 1-for-1'd it off. So you've definitely set up a pretty decent field under Max C. Now, if they didn't Max C at this point, you're still going to synchro into Denglong, search the pillars, dump the Chiwen. We're going to activate our Metaphor skill, pop our Denglong. This sets combination, and Denglong floats into Jiaotu. Jiaotu discard our 2 Yangzings, and we can combo off. Now, if they didn't Veiler the Red Eye Dice or the Denglong, and they're saving the Veiler for our Jiaotu, it's still absolutely fine because we still have that 9 pillars counter trap that we searched, as well as a Chiwen placed into the graveyard. Don't forget, our starting hand is 5, so we had 1 extra card in hand left. We started off with 5 cards in hand, and we ended with an overall 5 cards. Your opponent went -1 with the Veiler. After they draw for turn, they're going to have 5 cards to deal with this field. It's pretty good. We've broken even, and they've gone -1. And this is against the same Veiler that used to completely destroy this deck. Yeah, on our opponent's turn, if they Veilered us, we can negate something, pop out Jiaotu, float our Chiwen, float our Jiaotu into, again, either Suwani Chiwen or Bian Chiwen, depending on what you want to make. Now, if they did not Veiler us at this point, then we continue on with our slightly more primitive Denglong-less combo, since we can't make another Denglong this turn. So this is rewinding to our Baxia heavy combos from back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean like a couple of months ago. Synchro Summon into Baxia. Baxia pop out combination. This gets Jiaotu back. Combination. Search assess the opposite scale. Activate the opposite scale. Pop out Suwani. This sets fusion from the deck. And Suwani floats into Synchro Summon into another Baxia. Baxia destroys our fusion, summoning Jiaotu from the graveyard. Shuffle our fusion back, draw 1. So we should have 2 cards in hand at this point, as well as the 9 pillars, so 3 cards in hand. If you have something worth pendulum summoning, you would pendulum summon it at this point by making an extra space by making the number 38 first. Now, it is especially good if you have a random Yangzing to pendulum summon at this point. First, I'll show you what happens if you don't have a random Yangzing at this point. So we're going to pendulum summon our 2 Zephyr-News. Zephyr-New effect searches another 9 pillars. We're going to set both 9 pillars and pass turn. So this is the minimum of what we can accomplish. So we have our 3 negates. We pop the Jiaotu. We have our Chiwen float, which could be our 4th negate or Denglong on our opponent's turn to search path for more pluses. Popping Zephyr-New is also pretty cool, because that can also search path or oracle to extend our plays on the following turn. Also, it puts it into the extra deck for us to pendulum summon next turn for even more pluses. Now, as you can see, obviously this field is slightly weaker than the previous combo, since we can't quick synchro into Baxia Spin 2 on our opponent's turn anymore. So we have essentially 1 less negate than we should have, but we did manage to play around both Maxi and Effect Veiler at the same time. Now, if you really had to Baxia, kind of can. So if you use pillars to pop the Jiaotu, we can float into a Chiwen and a Pulau, and this gives us a Baxia for 3, but we do miss out on a Denglong on the opponent's turn, which is quite a few pluses. that we don't want to miss out on if we can help it. But yeah, I mentioned that we still had 2 cards in our hand. Now if one of these cards is a Yangzing that we can Pendulum Summon, so it can't be a level 1 Yangzing, then it makes this combo even better than our previous combo. So, we had our 5th card in hand as well as the 1 top deck of Metal Foes Fusion to draw this card. This Big C in this example right here. So when we Pendulum Summoned, we Pendulum Summon 3, search our pillars, and then we can end with a field like this. So by having that 1 extra Yangzing, we have the Baxia on our opponent's turn option again. And I say this is even better because we have a 4th Yangzing monster on the field for our pillars to pop, which might be relevant if your opponent decides to Ras Fear Mode you, because they can't get rid of all 4, so your pillars is still going to be alive even if the worst case scenario does happen. Now, I've mentioned that opening a single Chiwen doesn't really extend your combos anymore, since if we float into Chiwen on our turn, we can't float into Chiwen on their turn. And it's pretty much the same result whether we float it on our turn or their turn, with the exception that it's just going to clog up space on our turn, and we have to go the extra mile to protect that Chiwen, which is going to banish itself if they try to attack over it. And I've also mentioned that opening double Chiwen, although it extends the combo, is not going to be a very practical thing. However, when we put Speedroid Terratop and the Terratop based combos into consideration, we have the opportunity to search the second Chiwen, and it becomes a much more relevant combo. So again, 2 Yangzings, 1 Terratop, and 1 Metalfoes scale combo. One of the Yangzings being either a Chiwen or a 9 pillars. Now Chiwen and 9 pillars are interchangeable for the purposes of this combo. So yeah, start the combo off by special summoning Terratop. Terratop searches Red Eyes dice. Normal summon our dice, make our Terratop. Level 4, so we can synchro summon for Denglong. Denglong, if we open the pillars, we're going to search a Chiwen. If we open the Chiwen, we're going to search the pillars as per usual. So yeah, here we search our Chiwen. Although we can discard pillars for Jiaotu, we rather be setting our pillars instead of discarding them. Also, Chiwen is the best thing to discard off Jiaotu, so we might as well search it. Denglong's other effect drops itself down to level 1, dumping a Chiwen. So that's where our second Chiwen in the graveyard comes from. Activate our scale, pop out Denglong, set our combination. Denglong floats into Jiaotu. Jiaotu discard the Chiwen that we just searched and another Yangzing to summon Zephyrinyu and a Suwani. Synchro summon Baxia. Baxia pop combination reviving Jiaotu from the graveyard. Combination getting us our opposite scale. Activate Sylvid. Pop Suwani. Set the fusion. Suwani and Chiwen both trigger. Suwani floating into Zephyrinyu. Next up, we are going to synchro summon for another Baxia. Baxia destroys our fusion, reviving Jiaotu. Shuffle the fusion back, draw 1, pluses are always good. Overlay for Hope Harbinger, Pendulum summon 2 Zephyrinyus, Zephyrinyu searching pillars, synchro summon for Ayazi. Set both branches and pass turn. So here the combo is slightly better compared to when we ended with 2 Zefraxis and a Jiaotu. since we have a Jiaotu, 1 Zefruxi, and a Yazi now. Now what this lets us do is, on our opponent's turn, when we negate something with branches, we can pop the Yazi, allowing us to float into a random Yangzing such as Big C. Big C lets us quick synchro on our opponent's turn, so here we can do the Baxia for 2. After that, we can negate something else with 9 pillars, popping our Big C. And because we have that second Chiwen in the graveyard, we can float that as well as the Big C into a Swanee. And then we can also make that Denglong on our opponent's turn, searching that path. Yeah, we've made no sacrifices. We resolve the Chiwen on our own turn as well as our opponent's turn. And that's only possible if we can dump 2 Chiwens into the graveyard. If it's just one, you can only do one but not the other anyways. And you might as well just, in those cases, not use the Chiwen on your turn. Do the standard combo, but instead of ending with 1 Chiwen in the graveyard, you end with 2 Chiwens in the graveyard. Before we end this video, if you would like to purchase any of the cards seen in this video, or any Yu-Gi-Oh cards in general, feel free to check out ygosingles.com. They offer very competitive pricing, as well as great shipping rates to anywhere in the world. You can use the discount code NY333YGO at this website, which will give you a 5% discount on any purchase, as well as earning me some commission. So thank you for your support, and we'll see you at the next Denglong Wumbo combo video.